Hi, students. I just wanted to do a quick reminder for this section called Education. We'll be working in this section until March 9th. You have an assignment due. I had originally the date for February 20th, and I bumped it to February 23rd. So you have a couple of extra days to do that. The assignment is here. It's the Freer excerpt, and you're going to read it, and then you're going to post a little bit of your learning history and personal learning journey, incorporating a response from Freer's Pedagogy of the Oppressed. So don't get overwhelmed with that. It's a 2 to 3 page response in Times New Roman 12-point font with the MLA heading that I've included here. It's an exploratory narrative, which means that you are writing in the first person when you choose to, or throughout the whole thing. You're referencing your own learning experience, and you're also referring back to the article and to Freer's concepts to incorporate into your journal. Please be sure that you write the 2 to 3 pages in this MLA format, and then you do a quick read through before you submit it to make sure, just to check for revisions, for grammar mistakes, and things like that. So again, using the excerpt from Freer's Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Pedagogy is the study of education. Construct a personal narrative that makes a statement regarding your experiences in school thus far. Now, you will not want to include all of your experiences, but choose a few big experiences from grammar school or something that stands out from middle school, high school, etc. Find some moments that connect with Freer's notions of the banking concept. So this is something you're going to want to look for and make sure you annotate when you read Freer's excerpt. And the problem posing method. So that's something else you'll want to identify in the reading. And wonder about the kind of student you have become or are working to become because of or despite your past experiences. Essentially, your goal is to reflect upon your own education, analyze it using Freer's theory, and learn something about yourself. So you can even do it in that structure, right? You can start off reflecting upon your own education. Then you can analyze Freer's theory and bring that into the writing. And then you can finish up with a paragraph about something that you learned from yourself and a goal that you've set for yourself, or multiple goals. You could also set this up in the summary, analysis, synthesis, evaluation paragraph format. And if you went through those questions, you would have an easy 2 to 3 pages. So let me just go back and make sure you know where that reading is. Remember, you're going to use the annotation strategies and the reading strategies that we started with in the first week. So you can print this out. You can use the Power Notes. You can download it and make notes any way you want. You can make notes in your notebook. So if I started off reading this, the excerpt from Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed could be a little overwhelming. Pedagogy is a big word and most people do not use it. I studied education for one of my degrees, so that's a word that I'm familiar with. But this is a good example. You would highlight pedagogy and just start off right away. Go to the dictionary, dictionary.com, Merriam-Webster, and look up what pedagogy is and define it. So pedagogy is the study of education. What is oppressed? So we want to make sure we know what they mean when we're talking about oppressed. And then I would even take a minute and look up Paulo Freire and write some facts from his past. So that's what I would do on my document. Then let me just model with this next paragraph. In a typical classroom, the teacher talks about reality as if it were motionless, static, compartmentalized, and predictable. So right there, that's a lot going on in the sentence. What are we talking about, right? We're talking about pedagogy, education, which is usually not moving, has very small parts that are not connected, and also predictable. Nothing out of the ordinary. We know what's going to happen when we walk into a classroom. That's the typical classroom, right? That's typically what education or pedagogy has been for decades. So in a typical classroom, the teacher talks about reality as if it were motionless, static, compartmentalized, and predictable. So the teacher typically does not connect reality into its moving parts, or else he expounds on a topic completely alien to the existential experience of the students. Okay, so real quickly to define existential, you could pop into Merriam-Webster and just, oh yeah, it's relating to our existence. His task is to fill the students with the contents of his narration, contents which are detached from reality, disconnected from the totality that engendered them and could give them significance. Words are emptied of their concreteness and become a hollow, alienated, and alienating verbosity. So, what is this paragraph about? It is about historically, education has been that you go into a classroom and you learn about subjects that aren't connected to your life or to life. And you can go a little further with that. Maybe a question I would ask is, where have I experienced that in my learning education, in my learning history? I remember memorizing facts, just memorizing, studying, and not making real learning connections to that in multiple classes throughout high school and college. So that would be an example of connecting it. And then you're just going to break down the reading like that and then incorporate parts of it into your reflection. All right, so this video is getting long. I don't want it to get too long. There's a quick lesson to remind you from the chapters of They Say, I Say, Chapter 2, The Art of Summarizing. That is a helpful lesson to review. And again, the chapters 1, 2, 3 from They Say, I Say will help you with this as well. Just looking ahead, due March 2nd. You should start this ahead of time. Do not wait because you have the readings due with annotations and the quote sandwich due March 2nd. So what I had originally was a due date in between the two, but you can figure that out on your own, what works best for you, but they do both have to be submitted by March 2nd. So the first is the quote sandwich project, which is a fun project where you're going to find a quote that interests you and you are going to make it into a quote sandwich. You're going to SACE it. And I give you examples of that right down to like exactly what the final paper should look like. So if you read through all of that modeling carefully and you already know what SACing is, using the summary, analysis, synthesis, evaluate, that should be quite straightforward, that you're doing a 2 to 3 page solid 2-page paper on that, on a quote that you like. And I give you links to where to find interesting quotes. Also then due March 2nd, which is a week and a few days, is to read and annotate these readings here that are listed. I also clarify because I had these links to these longer sources and they're long. Some of them are 40 pages, but those are just to skim and to use as needed. So you might skim through it and pull out parts that you found interesting. But what is essential is what I have labeled read and annotate. So you're going to use the annotation strategies, the know, want to know, and learned chart, You can also do a cluster map as part of your annotations, but you should have a hefty amount of annotations on all of these readings, and you're going to submit that by March 2nd as well. So make sure you plan for that. And then looking ahead, we're going to use those readings for what I call a formal quote unquote essay on the topic of education that'll be due March 9th. It's not super formal, so don't get overwhelmed, but it is going to be a structured paragraph essay in MLA format where you are incorporating the in-text citations, also called quote sandwiches, which now we've practiced, and I've put a few additional links to the MLA reference guide and how to do these citations. So there are a lot of links, but don't get overwhelmed. They are just tools for you to be successful. Just another copy of that assignment that's due up here. So that's not an additional assignment. I hope this helps. I don't want to make the videos too long, but I hope I didn't rush through anything. Please let me know if this helps. So be sure to submit your Freer's learning history incorporating quotes from this reading, and then be sure to get ahead on planning to submit this before or on March 2nd, as well as the reading. So have a great day, and I'll see you all soon. We'll have our live meeting Tuesday. Be well. Bye.